name is Honesty Liller, and I'm a woman in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is I've been drug and alcohol free since May 27, 2007. I tried every form of treatment for my heroin addiction, and what worked for me is a strong network of recovering people and the McShin Foundation. I am able to walk in my purpose every single day here at McShin and help people just like me. I lived in the female house for 5 months and then started my employment here at McShin. So that was lots of years ago, almost 14 years ago, and I have been the CEO for over 7 years. I get to experience people's lives changing right in front of me, along with reducing that negative outlook on addiction to our community in this area and nationally at large. It is very important for me to speak up for those, that need our services, but also specifically, I love helping the moms here in our program because my story is I was a mom in addiction, and it's just really, really important for us to be innovative in the addiction field and the recovery community. It is important for me in my personal recovery to continually wake up every morning and help someone, whether it's someone new in recovery, help someone in the community in general, or someone in long-term recovery. It doesn't matter. Recovery has taught me how to be a mom, how to be a wife, how to be a CEO, how to love myself and be a woman leader in this community. So I want to thank you for all of your energy and all of your support of our mission of healing families and saving lives.
Welcome to the Friday Night Care Talk. Woo! That's right. Give it up. Give it up. We, me and Honesty, founders of Care Talk, we're really pleased and honored to be able to bring you these empowering talks, comprehensive addiction and recovery empowerment talks. We organized this series to do a series of talks of people in recovery to help carry that message of hope to you guys and girls, and hope you learned something from it. Everyone we've had has been very, very informative. We've always gotten a lot out of them. So my only ask is this. This is going to be one of our shorter ones. We've only got 6, high-impact, top-shelf, world-famous speakers. They're only going to speak for maybe 5-10 minutes apiece or whatever the number is. We should have you out of here 7 o'clock shortly after, maybe a little later. So we're not going to take a break. We're going to go straight through, okay? So if you got a meeting to go to, just sit tight, be patient, be respectful, listen to all of our speakers. And, I want to at least introduce some guests we got here tonight. For those of you who knew Michael Robinson, he recently passed away from this illness. His parents are down here from Maine. They're in the house, so we want to be respectful and make sure you give them a big hug. Steve and Elaine, if you could just, they're in the back. So if you need to, there you go. I'm sure if you knew Mike, you can give him a hug. That's what I'm saying. Now, tonight's topic is really all about, we come into recovery, okay? A lot of us are still in love with the get high. You with me? A lot of you folks are new. You can't imagine your life without the get high. So you come into recovery, you meet all these wonderful people, you go to some meetings, some groups, and you still ask yourself, why do I want to stay clean when I'm so in love with the get high? It's so hard to get that out of your brain, okay? And we teach everybody here at McShin that if you are patient about your recovery process, no matter what drug you do or drink, you are not going to get so high. And if you're patient and do this thing right, you'll cross that magical line when your recovery high all of a sudden is better than your drug get high. Okay? That's the good news. And that's the promise. When I hit my recovery high one day in recovery, I realized, holy shit, this is awesome, man. They were not lying. They were telling the truth. I wanted more of that. Because like all good addicts, I want the good shit, right? So as time goes by, I found out my recovery high was progressive. It got better and better and better. And that will be your story. You hear me? So you got to hang out for that. That's the good news. Now here's the bad news. I happen to know we're a very impatient group of people. We don't have no tolerance for patience. Matter of fact, we want what we want when we want it, and we think we know what we want when we want it. You don't. Your head is telling you a lie. It took me from 1982 to 1985, do the math, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 years, when it dawned on me, them old timers were right. The recovery high arrived in my life, and I was able to launch in my recovery, and I've been in a wonderful orbit now for 41 years, okay? That's a long time. But my first 3 years, don't think I won't think of that, okay? So you got to, I don't care how you do it, what process you use, you have got to give yourself a break. Give yourself a chance. Stick and stay in recovery long enough to reach that recovery high, and then see if you want to go back to that. Most people don't, because we're selfish and self-centered. We want the good stuff. Remember, I mentioned that earlier. So, do not cheat yourself out of that. I know we got 6 awesome speakers going to come up here, and they're going to talk about all kind of good stuff, cool stuff. Recovery is not a death sentence, trust me. Going back to the old way of life is. Recovery is not. Recovery is a life we get to live that we always wanted or dreamed of we could live when we were kids. We can still get that. My short journey provided me the opportunity to not only become the son my parents always wanted, to become the brother my sisters and brothers always wanted. I became a good member of my community. I know I'm a very good community. You should see my tax returns. I mean, the government loves me. I'm able to develop wonderful relationships with people. My neighbors love me. They want me to join the neighborhood, club and be part of it. Everybody wants a piece of John, it seems like. They didn't want nothing to do with me when I was out there using. So, a complete 360. Most important, when I was a kid and when I was using, I always wanted to be somebody I wasn't. I wanted to be a famous musician, an athletic star, a famous politician. I wanted to be anybody but John, okay? I can honestly say today, I'm okay with John. I like John. I look in the mirror. I like what's looking back at me, okay? I'm proud to be me. I'm proud of my journey. I'm proud of what I've been able to do in recovery, and you want that to be your story, I was privileged enough to my dad passed away a couple years ago. We completely repaired our relationship. I give a eulogy at his funeral. Out of all his 8 children, I was the one. What an honor. My mother, she's 90 years old in good health. I get to see her regularly, My nephews and nieces, they think I'm the coolest uncle ever, So I got a God of my understanding. I remember in active addiction, I worried every day I'm going to hell. Why bother? I'm going to hell. I ain't worried about going to hell since I've been clean. I know whatever's hereafter, I'm going to be there. Guarantee it. Hopefully you younger guys, I get there before you and I'll show you the way. Some of you older guys, I don't know, man. They hide me when I get there. So I think the point is this, you get self-esteem back. I don't no longer suffer from an inferior complex. I know who and what I am. I like who and what I am. Now, a word of caution to you speakers, when you come up here, the microphone is right here, okay? You need to stay in this little zone, not only to be heard by the people in the audience, but the people watching this on Facebook and YouTube, okay? So if you come over here, what they're going to hear is, so make sure when you speak, you stand here, because we don't want to miss nothing, you know what I mean? Some of y'all are going to have some good stuff to say. I'm going to pick up some pointers I want to hear. So, our first speaker tonight, let me tell you about this kid. First time I met him was on the front row for Monkey Regional Jail, our program. He'd be bouncing in and out of that chair. He was like a cat on a hot tin roof, man. But he listened. And this kid spent years. Matter of fact, when that jail opened up brand new way back when, he got to open the jail up. Oh, yeah. He was a regular, frequent flyer, man. He'd been there more times than I can count. Everybody knew him. He was a community F-up, you know what I mean? And I said F. I didn't complete the sentence. I realize I have an exquisite use of the English language, you know. But Cricket, he paid attention. He followed instructions. He heard that part about, I know where I've been and I know where I'm going to go back to. Let me have a little faith and do what these guys do. Maybe I'll get what they get. You know what I mean? So he paid attention. He came up here in McShin. He did really good. Made some, I'm not even going to call them mistakes, but he did some research and development along the way. He improved the quality of his abilities today. But he is really, to me, he's like one of the most magnificent peer report specialists in the trade, I think. He's just incredible. He very animated, wonderful person. He manages millions of dollars in SAMHSA grants. He got clean in jail. He re-entered properly, so now he teaches other inmates across the state how to get clean in jail and re-enter. Some of y'all met Cricket in jail. You know the experience. So without further ado, how about a warm welcome for Cricket?
I should have got me a clip on or something, because anybody's ever heard me talk knows I like to strut. Like I like to go back and forth on the stage, man. I got it, man. I can do this. But thank you, John. Thank you, John. Thank you, Honesty, for doing these Carrot Talks, man. I always get a lot out of them. I think they're really cool events. And thanks for asking me to speak. I'm Cricket, and I'm a person in sustained recovery from substance use disorder. What that means for me is a couple things. When I put substances into my body, my life gets disorderly. The other thing it means, sustained, means I ain't found it necessary to use or drink any mood or mind altering substance for about 6.5 years now. And I know that that's only possible because of my introduction to McShin, right? I know that to be fact. Now, I've been listening to John for years, and I love that get high analogy. And what always, like, anytime I see you do that or share that with a group that you're speaking to, like, I always, like, remember and recognize right away, yeah, that get high, man, I chased it for decades. I chased it. And what I learned is that I have a progressive illness, right? Which means it gets worse over time. And, like, it progressively, because it gets worse, like, I need more to chase that get high. And it's crazy because, like, for years and years, I was doing more and more drugs and more stuff to get the drugs. But that high that I was chasing kept getting smaller and smaller. That's like that. That's so, like, I'm chasing something that really don't even exist no more. And so I get into recovery. Thank God y'all came into that last jail that I was in. And yeah, I had been locked up a lot. And the truth is, like Honesty said, that the topic is staying cool in recovery, man. And look, all those years, like those years we rip and ran, man, I thought I was the coolest person that ever walked the planet Earth. I really did, man. I was literally the only person on planet Earth that thought I was cool. Like, that's the truth. Like, I had my disease convince me that I was cool and the things that I was doing was okay. And, you know, despite the fact that I'm in and out of jail, homelessness, broke, unemployable, giving custody of my children away, all that stuff, I still thought I was cool. Like, it's cool. We're cool. So I get introduced to recovery through McShin in that last jail I was incarcerated at, man, and I heard that get high speech. That using get high is what I've been chasing for decades. But if I just get out my way and chase a different pathway to recovery, then I will find that the recovery high, it just ain't no comparison to what that other high was that I've been chasing all those years. The hit is this. The longer I chase this, the smaller it gets. Y'all follow me on that? Am I the only one that didn't get as high as I wanted to? I am the only one. All right, okay. All right. In recovery, he's absolutely right, man. Like, I get higher. My reward system in recovery is a whole lot bigger than that ever was at its peak. At its absolute most, now I got small hands, but at its peak, it could never compare to this. It just couldn't. The longer I chase this, the smaller it gets. The longer I chase this, the bigger it gets. And that's a fact. And I would not be in recovery if it won't. Because I have not forgot how cool I thought I was before I got into recovery. I have a mental illness called substance use disorder that does its absolute best to convince me to go back to that lifestyle. Am I the only one in here that's got that? Okay, all right, good. Glad I ain't wasting my time up here. Since I got into recovery, and that reward system just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I got to say this too, man. I've heard your story, John's story, 100 times over the years. And I know, like, it took you, you know, between 3 and 5 year mark for you, from my understanding, is when you started, like, seeing, yo, there's no way I'm going back, right? His reward system got big enough in that period of time to where he said, yo, I ain't going back. And I got some good news, man, that sometimes it comes a whole lot quicker than that. And if y'all go to like 12-step meetings, a lot of times you'll hear them read, like sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, but they'll always manifest. Y'all heard that? I know you heard that. Like my reward system, almost right in the recovery process, was already bigger than my get high system. And I ain't making that up. It's Friday night. I could be doing 100 other things and up here, standing up here lying to y'all. You know, I have been, until I got into recovery, I was on probation. I couldn't go within 75 miles of Hanover County. You know, I didn't have children. I gave my children away when they were 1. My mama blocked every single number that I ever called her from. Anytime I called it, blocked. My daddy took me out the wheel years ago. I had no relationship with my family. I burnt all my bridges. And today, boy, wow, today I go way further than 75 miles from Hanover County. In fact, I've been to 34 of the United States. 34 of them, man. Just in the last 6 years, I've been to 34 states. And Mexico 3 times. Actually, another country. That really didn't surprise me that another country let me in. What surprised me was that this one let me back. And I've been there 3 times, man, and you're talking to somebody, man, that was a slave to Richmond. Like I was entrapped in this area for decades. I've been to 34 states, man. I've been to Mexico 3 times. Did you know a lobster dinner in Mexico that would cost about $600 here, costs about $80 there? I got to go to San Diego in a couple months. I think I'm going to go get some lobster. And guess what? I ain't got to ask a probation officer for a travel pass. Hey. I ain't got to cut no ankle monitor off my leg. I ain't got to worry about getting caught up in customs for some stuff I got from the pharmacy. You know, because they got pharmacies down there. My mama's car. I bought her a car a couple of years ago for her birthday after I paid her court fine so she could get her license back. And then she hadn't had a license in so long, she had to get a learner's permit. I was able to teach my mama how to drive again. And anybody that's ever met my mama knows that was a unique experience. And her motor blew up in her car last week, man. And they want like $3,000. I told her, look, girl, we ain't fixing that car. Like I paid $3,000 for it. We ain't getting it. We ain't putting a motor in it. And no, she's gonna fix it. She says, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna pay for it. If it takes every dime I got, I'm gonna pay for it. But it's gonna take her some months to get that, man. I got 2 vehicles. I got a couple vehicles, you know, because that's my reward system. It keeps getting bigger and bigger the longer I chase recovery. And I took her my car, one of my cars the other day, and she said, well, what are you going to drive if something happens to your other car? And man, and I found myself saying without thinking, like new cricket, like recovery cricket, thinks and acts a whole lot different than old cricket. And new cricket said, Mama, shoot, girl, I'd rather walk than you walk. And I gave that girl my car. You know, hold on, wait a minute. Because I don't want to act like I don't regret it. Because she called me yesterday. She said, Cricket, the service engine light is on. I said, Mama, that thing been on for like 3 years. She said, no, I ain't never seen it. I said, hold on, I'll be there about 5:30. I went by there, man. My mama's been driving that car all week in first gear. So, transmission's gone. So, but you know what, man? My kids, man, the same kids that I gave away, like I've had joint custody of them for about 7 years now, man. And I get them on the weekends, man. And when I get them, they have fun. And they trust me. And they asking me for advice and stuff. And they're 12, so that's going to stop any minute now. But I'm there. I'm a present father who ain't on probation, who ain't been to jail since I met McShin in 2015, who has a job. Next week, actually tomorrow, will be 5 years. I've never had a job for 5 years. And John, like my biggest reward, I think, man, and I got a lot of rewards, I really have, but my biggest one, I think I agree with you, man. At the end of the day, like I'm all right with the dude I am. That's my reward. Like that's my biggest reward is at the end of the day, I'm all right with who I am. I feel pretty good about the stuff I did today. Y'all, thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, I seen Cricket's kids in action, boy. They get anything out of Cricket, man. Yeah, payback's cool as shit, ain't it? You know, our next speaker, I met him, a few months ago. I heard him talk a few times, and I'm thinking, man, this guy, he must have really thought he was a hell of a basketball player, right? You know, there's a lot of people out there, they're really good. And woulda, shoulda, coulda. If I'd only done the right thing, I'd have made it to the NBA. No question about it, you know what I mean? But guess what? You didn't. You didn't make it to the NBA. And I've met hundreds of athletes that could have made it. They really could have. Some actually made it, and they didn't do so well because of this disease. Well, this individual took that talent to a whole new level in recovery. The man it's like you couldn't be this good a hope deal if you didn't have those experiences, you know what I mean? And trust me, our reach, our purpose is far greater being a hope dealer than an MVP for the NBA, okay? Now, the money ain't the same, I get that part. But the lives we touch, this man, when he speaks, he touches lives. I get excited every time I hear him talk. And I like speaking to kids. Because I know I got a child in my life loves me and adores me and respects me, and we love each other. And I know Cricket's got that, and I know you got that, Jodell. So I ain't going to tell Jodell's story for him. Jodell, come on up. Give us what you got. Everybody give Jodell a hand. What really happened was he fell off the toilet.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing today? Let's say if you got 24 hours or less clean today, give yourself a round of applause. So, this is my first time doing, I'm saying it right, the Carrot Talk. Carrot Talk. I am privileged and honored to be here. Thank you, Miss Honesty, for allowing me this opportunity. Thank you, Mr. John, for allowing me this opportunity. And with that, I won't take much of your time. It's not going to take much. I'm an old dope fiend, retarded, crazy dude, so it ain't going to take much time. So, patience, what you were saying, that's probably one of the biggest things that we all have in common in recovery. Probably the biggest thing. And the most important thing is you never stop having to revert back to patience. It's always going to play a major key role in your recovery. So when I first got in treatment, it was funny. My case manager, God rest his soul, was a great man, John Vincent. I came into recovery, first time ever in a recovery program, didn't know what to expect, didn't know what to do, but just wanted to stop getting high. So The first week was kind of goofy, you know what I mean? The adjustment period. Like I said, he's a great man, but I didn't really care much for him when I first met him. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? His approach was something else. So, first weekend, I think it was about third day in recovery. It was pouring down rain outside, I'll never forget it. I came into recovery. You know you always got that one prized possession that you bring in with you, and no matter what, you think you still the man if you put it on or you fly or something. So I had this suede jacket. Had a suede jacket. I only had one pair of sweats, 3 t-shirts, and a pair of Timberland boots. And that suede jacket was the thing that I thought if I put that on at 150 pounds at that time, I could still get a girl. That suede jacket was the magic trick. So it's pouring down raining. And this man see me walking through the hall. It was outside meeting day that day. So I just got there, had to follow the group just like we followed the herd. I had to do what they do. He said, "Where you doing? Where you going?" I said, "I'm going back to my room." He said, "Where the bus is getting ready to leave. The guys getting ready to go to the outside meeting." I said, "Man, I ain't going outside with my suede jacket on." He said, "You what?" He said, "If I was a dope man across town, had that dope waiting on you, go outside in that suede jacket." So I said to myself, my first introduction to recovery. You know, that was my first challenge. Man, was I mad at that dude. I put my suede jacket on. It only took like 3 steps outside, you know what I'm saying, toward the bus, and I was soaked. I got on the bus, looked at my jacket. Oh, damn, my only player card is gone. My suede jacket is done. Only player card, now I'm through. Now, I'm nothing now. I'm completely nothing. Well, at first I thought I had a little bit of life with that jacket, but I was through. I was completely through. So that was my first introduction, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But patience was the key. Patience was the biggest asset that I've had in recovery since I've been here. And that's even with right now. As you can see, I have a shoulder that's messed up. I just had surgery on my shoulder. And trust me, I did not want to go through this ordeal. You know, I just went to the doctor, got the stitches out. Why he tell me, "You got to wear it for 6 more weeks." I said, "What? Are you serious?" So that's that right now. But my life right now, even with 14 years clean, I have to work on patience every single day of my life. I'll tell you, this is the blessing right here, though. I came here from Kentucky. I lived in Kentucky for quite some time, probably over 30 years or more. And I said to myself, it's time to come back home to Virginia. Time to come back home. I got family here. I got all my friends here. I met some great people in Kentucky. They were great, loved them to death, but there's no place like your home, your friends you met elementary school. Nothing like it. So when I came back, I said to myself, you know what? Just put your name in the hat, and whatever pulls out, that's what we're going to do. I had a job, great job. On the job for almost 13 years. Same job. When I came back, I said, I'm going to do something different. Didn't quite know what I was going to do, though. But that has been one of my moments where I have to revert back to my first day of recovery, my first day of clean time, of not knowing what I was going to do and having to accept where I'm at and just let things work out. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. I've had some help along the way because I haven't been working, and that was one of the biggest parts. I fell into this process, what I'm in now, which is interning at the McShin Foundation. Give y'all a round of applause because y'all do a great job. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm doing an internship. But I've had to figure out how I'm going to pay my bills, how I'm going to get through, what am I going to do. John took me up on that. He said, I got something for you to do. He said, you want to cut some grass? I said, shit. Shoot. Cut grass? I'm born to cut grass. I'm a forward. I'm forward built. John looked me in my eyes and said, he said, you know, it's going to only take you about 2 hours to cut it. I said, okay, I can handle that, 2 hours. I'll knock that out, make that quick money, come on in. I get out there. I start at 8, y'all. I look up at 11 o'clock and I've just finished the first part. I said, this guy done looked me in my eyes, knowing I'm 54 years old, gonna tell me it's gonna take 2 hours, knowing it's gonna take me all day long. I bet you it don't take you no 2 hours. But anyway, that's been a blessing too. The fact that people have reached out and helped me to stay cool and calm while things kind of fall in place in my life, along with, and I'm gonna end on this, the blessing of knowing the early part of my recovery has paid off in the latter part. Now, my daughter called me, and I'm going to end on this. My daughter called me the other day, and I took her some money back in June during the Father's Day weekend. Took her some money. She said she's going to get a car. Gave her a nice little amount of money. Daughter's pretty smart. She's college student. I said, work that money, baby. Do the best you can with it. We'll figure out the payments along the road. Just get the car. So she tried for one car. It was gone. Why did my daughter call me the other day and said she got a 2024 and 23. I said, goodness gracious. Staying calm and cool when you're in recovery is easy to do when you're doing the right thing. That's all I got to say. Staying calm and cool is pretty easy. That's all I got.
I gave my daughter, we gave her a car for college. Then, you know, within a few weeks, she traded it up for a brand new car, got a car payment and everything. She's had a car payment ever since then, man. I love it when I go over her house, man. She's drowning in debt. I know she is, man. But the only way you're going to learn, you know? How many of y'all run your credit cards up, tell the truth? Well, I ran mine up over my lifetime 4 or 5 times. I don't do that no more. I'm getting too old for that. One of the blessings of age, I guess. You know, our next speaker, God, I love this guy so much. He got no idea how much I love him, man. He's an irony old little man. You know, when you see him speak, he's a great speaker. You see him in group, he does group a little bit different. You get him out at the smoke shack, he's off the chain sometimes. But I grab hold of every word he says. I listen to him. I think he's a wise man. And you can learn from this guy. And he did ask me, he said, can I say fuck during this? I said, look, man, I honestly don't really like a lot of cussing, so I used up his one F word. Let's give a warm welcoming hand to Franklin. Give it up. I'm not dead also.
I'm Franklin, and I suffer from substance use disorder and dual diagnosis. Cool in recovery. This takes me back to when I first come into a treatment center, and I got put out. And then I was let back in 30 days later. Then I got put out again for my behaviors off of the chain. The director told me, you need Jesus and 2 baby Jesus. And today, I can honestly say I found Jesus. Because he saved a wretch like me. He saved a wretch like me. All I had to do was ask him. And it takes more than just asking, you know, I had to put some action behind that. A long, hard road, I'm thankful for heroin, cocaine, and Crown Royal in the spoon at one time to drag my ass to do something different. And without my higher power looking down on me, it wouldn't be possible. It wouldn't be possible. So I don't know if that's being cool in recovery, but I'm clean today, and I owe it all to him. Some of y'all have heard me say that Jesus is not on Facebook. but he is my friend. Jesus is not on Instagram, but I follow him. He doesn't have a cell phone, but I talk to him. And without him, there would be no me. So I owe it to him to be able to stand up here today, because I remember when I had that needle in my arm, and I said, not today, I'm not going to get high today. 45 minutes later, I was high as Cooter Brown. Until I got on my knees and I give it to him, I could not quit shooting dope. So I don't know if y'all call that cool in recovery, but I am in love with Jesus. I get on my knees every day, every morning and every evening, and I relinquish control to my higher power. Because when I'm in control, I know what happens. I know what happens. You know, I spill an egg of dope in the floor of a porta john and will be down on my knees licking it up to getting off E. I don't have to do that today. I don't have to do that today. I really don't know what to say, you know. I give it to him every minute, every day. I relinquish control. And y'all see me when I come in the door, I slap the top of the door. That's because I'm checking my ego at the door. Because I'm this far away from putting one up in me. And when I forget about that, when I let my ego take over, which is ego is edging God out. When I let that take over, all bets are off. You can throw the white towel in because the fight is fixed. The fight is fixed. So that's all I got, you know. If it wasn't for him, there would be no me. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Franklin, and to our other speakers as well. So I'm Honesty. I am a woman in recovery since May 27, 2007. I am a proud alum of the McShin Foundation. McShin and 12 Steps saved my life. I would not be standing here today if John and Carol did not open McShin all those years ago. So I am the CEO of the McShin Foundation, and I help with the Care Talks as well. And I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and recovery rocks. So I value my recovery, and I value people that I'm surrounded with, and hearing all these stories, and being able to see new people in recovery. I've been here, 16 years now, and seeing all the humans that walk through this door just transform. There's nothing like it. There's nowhere I don't want to be sitting at a desk punching in numbers or doing. This is the best career that God had a plan for me for all those years when I was doing drugs, and I landed at the McShin Foundation. I have no question I walk in my purpose every single day, and being able to see these awesome people that come through these doors. So that's me, and Recovery Rocks. So our next speaker, I guess I'm her mentor as well as her boss, which is really cool. I love seeing young ladies come through McShin and starting their own career and their own path, you know, through the process of recovery. But also, we have so many unique skills and so many amazing things that we just pushed down for so many years because we're on drugs. And to see that the beautifulness come out in the humans around us, it's just so radical. I mean, it's the most beautiful thing. So our next speaker here is Ms. Monique Ramsey.
Hello, everyone. First, I have to say my dress has pockets, which is making me feel real snazzy right now. So, I know. It's great option. So I have been here since March of 2021. McShin absolutely saved my life. And this year was a big year. So I hit 2 years in recovery, sustained every single day, right? And then I also turned the big 3-0. So, being young-ish, I don't want to get like stabbed by the Gen Z. I still consider myself young. In recovery can be difficult. I know throughout the years that is kind of what kept me from going full dive into it. Just like a little background. I mean, I've lived a very hippie, free will life. I dropped out of college because it was just like not fun enough. And moved to Costa Rica, started teaching yoga. I'm working at music festivals. I'm teaching all this like holistic Zen stuff, like all while having this huge mask on, being completely zooted. And it was fine. It was fine. Like no one could really tell unless you got close to me. So a lot of my friendships, a lot of those relationships were really surface-based because I didn't want anyone to really know the real me because I didn't really know the real me myself. And I didn't really like the actual human being that I was. The only time I even tried to kind of dip my toes in recovery were when like consequences happened, of course, I'm like, everyone gets messed up and everyone has these issues. And I remember the first time I wanted to try to moderate, that's all I needed was moderation, was after being locked up in another state, and my parents were like, okay, we'll stay there. Which was actually a blessing because I was totally had a trip booked for Costa Rica and I would have just probably never come back. But PSA, doing like a psychedelic holistic weekend trip doesn't necessarily make you stop wanting to drink and do drugs. Doing drugs does not make you not want to do drugs, surprisingly. So that didn't work out. And to be honest, it was a scary idea. I tried to peek into 12-step meetings and some spiritual meetings, and I would like hear these stories, and I'm like, I'm not that bad, I'm good. I don't have a problem then. I don't have kids, but I do have a fur child. Yay. Shout out yay. But, and she was my road dog, whether we were living in high rises or like parking lot pimping, sleeping in the parking lot. She's always been by my side. And that was really like the only friend that I had. And it really hit me that I was not having as much fun as I thought I was having. In 2020, I had a stroke and had brain surgery. And I'm chilling at my apartment with Yay, 2 shot glasses, because just in case someone wanted to like peek in on me, they would be like, oh, she had company, Like, no, that was for me and Yay. And I'm not gonna like give my dog alcohol, you guys. I'm a good dog mom. So, I was just so sad because all of those friends that I had going to shows and going to festivals and partying with, a lot of them had started dying off, and then the rest of them were like nowhere to be found. And that is when I finally was like, I need something different. This is the very first job that I've really actually, once I hit 2 years, will be the longest ever. I had one other regular job, and they fired me because they went through my bag and happened to find a bottle and some substances. But like, I tried to sue them. That didn't work out too well because I was like, why would you go through my bag? That's an invasion of privacy. So it turns out that that wasn't valid. But I will say, my first year of recovery, just trying to find friends, like-minded friends that had the same common interests as me, not just going to a meeting or something, was hard. I don't really like to go out of, now I don't like going out of my apartment very much. Meeting new friends is hard. But I found a couple, so we go out, we get brunch, even sometimes we just hang out and do absolutely nothing but look at TikToks together, and that's fun to me. I have a friend that also works here that I was nervous about going to see my favorite band, the Disco Biscuits, who I had not seen since getting into recovery. He came with me just to make sure, I didn't get into anything different. So if you don't know about the Biscuits, sorry if you don't. They're the best. That first year was just about dipping my toes into trying to be fun, because just because I am young and in recovery does not mean that my whole life has to end. Like, my social life doesn't have to end. My traveling doesn't have to end. My trips don't have to end. I just had to find what worked for me. So having a buddy to make sure that I don't go off the deep end was important to me. Then the last year, my second year, I went on my first vacation. First vacation, completely sober, completely no substances at all, to Puerto Rico. It was amazing. Took a lot of really cute pictures for Instagram because I'm still young-ish, and I want to be relevant on social media, right? Like, I still want to take the cute pictures, and it's totally doable. Now, this year coming up, this is the second year of Sober Space, but I'm so excited about it at Pride Fest, going to somewhere, having I know sometimes old-timers might not like me for saying this, but I love a good mocktail. I love a good mocktail. I do. I like taking the little boomerangs. I know boomerangs aren't cool anymore, but I like them still. And I like taking pictures. And it gives me something to do in a social setting that doesn't make me feel awkward and someone's like, why aren't you having a drink? Well, do you have all day for me to tell you how it makes me ruin my entire life? No. But just having something, it makes me feel part of, and it eases the anxiety. It wasn't necessarily that I needed alcohol to feel like I could get over my social anxiety. It was just that comfortability. And now that I'm more comfortable with myself, I'm better at social situations. My family, having a relationship with my family, my mom used to tell me straight up, I ain't one of your little friends. I am not one of your little friends. Don't try to play me like one of your little friends. Okay, but look at us now. We're best friends, okay? I tell her everything. I call her I'm like, girl, you will not believe this. You will not believe this. And it's great. My sisters want to hang out with me. My youngest sister, who just turned 16, save me, she calls me for advice, which means that I'm still cool. Absolutely. And she calls me just to hang out. She just came over to my apartment last weekend because she's like, yeah, I like your apartment. It's a vibe. The aesthetic is so nice in here, So I'm like, I'm doing something right, I don't know if I'll ever go to a festival again, mainly because I'm a little too bougie now. I'm not camping. I'm not doing it. I'm not sleeping outside. I already did that before. I'm not doing that again by choice. But I'm finding new ways, and I'm meeting new people, and I love it. And if you ever want to hang out with me, if you are a woman, if you ever want to hang out with me, hit me up. We may or may not hang out because I am very flaky, but we can at least plant the seed because it's great to have other baddies. Baddies unite, period. And that's it.
Baddies unite. So surround yourself with super cool humans because your life will be awesome. Our next speaker, I'm looking at the timer, it's not on here, but I already know. Our next speaker has been part of our family for years. Shout out to her brother Ray Ray. We love him deeply around here at McShin. So I got Holly here to speak. I've been following her journey for the past few years. We don't get to see each other all the time, but I'm on your socials. Congratulations, and you can announce the awesome news you just promoted. But seeing women come in, get into recovery. When I got into recovery 16 years ago or whatever, it was not a lot of women in the 12-step fellowship that I was in. Now there's hundreds and hundreds of women in this area, so it's really cool to see women sticking and staying. So with that, I give you Holly Long.
All
like shaking, like, I don't usually get so nervous to speak, but this just feels like it is official. Like, it's so official. Like, I'm here at Care Talks. I'm being recorded. Like, what's going on? Like, what is life right now? Thank you, Honesty. Thank you, John. Though I never was a participant at McShin, it really has been such a part of my recovery journey coming around here, seeing the work y'all did in my brother's life and just how you touch people's lives every single day. And so when I first heard this topic, I almost struggled with it. I was not struggling in the way you would think, but I feel like at this point, like, sorry if my voice is cracking. I don't know why I'm so nervous. And I kind of like threw my notes out the window, like not out the window, they're under my chair, but I usually when I speak, I just ask God to give me the words, and somehow it comes out. But where was I? So I kind of struggled with this topic almost because it's kind of like everything is kind of cool in recovery. Everything is kind of fun in recovery. Not kind of, it really is. Just the little things we do, go to work, go to a meeting, get dinner with friends, and, you know, see the world outside of the lens of drugs and alcohol. Like, that's fun and that's cool to me today. And, you know, the shackles of addiction that I lived under for about 6 years, I was really in the depths of it. And I never thought through that whole time there was ever another side. It was so dark, this dark hole I lived in, both mentally and just the destruction around me. You know, I'm a person in recovery not only, but I'm also a person in recovery from mental disorders. So that's another piece that kind of kept me away. So, you know, with the dual diagnosis, it's almost difficult to like even begin to have fun. But with recovery, I've learned that, you know, we can come out on the other side. You know, I have to take my medication every day. Like, that's technically not fun, but I'm glad I do, you know, because I'm not off the chain no more. Like, I'm not destroying everything. Like, I'm not like popping off at people, popping off at my family, like, and like just insufferable to be around. Like, at least I feel like I'm not. We'll see. But so I guess I'll start with a little bit of what it was like. So I have been clean since November 8th, 2018. It's been about almost 5 years now. And thank you. And that's something I never thought I'd say. My brother came around to McShin when he was about 18, and I would hang around a bit, but I was like, I don't need this. What is he doing? I don't need this. This is so weird. How could people just be smiling and laughing like this without drugs? Like, and even while I was on drugs, I wasn't smiling and laughing. Like, I had this weird complex, like, I'm having so much fun. And I remember my mom said to me one day, I was like, Mom, it's okay, weed makes me chill and makes me happy. She's like, I ain't never seen you happy. I said, oh, wow. Oh, wow, so that's what it's like, okay. So I lived under this delusion that, you know, I'm just young, I'm having fun, this is fun, I'm fine. Like, I just cut all my hair off and went on this manic rant on all social media platforms, but I'm fine, this is fun, like, and I'm having a ball. But, so, it was just such darkness, like I said before, and, you know, the only thing that brought me out of it was, you know, it was an outside consequence. There were so many consequences that would have gotten anybody through these doors, but the real big consequence was my parents said, you either get clean or you're out on the street, and I was living with them at that point, and I said, you know, I don't know if the street's for me. I kind of been, you know, I've been on the sidewalk. I don't know if the street's really for me. So I guess I got to do this. And so I came into this process, and I'll just kind of fast forward through a little bit, because that's not important about, like, you know, it is important early recovery, but I do want to share with you all, like, that it does get better and it does get easier, and you do get your life back in ways that you never thought you would. It's not about getting your life back, it's about getting a whole new life. And it's not lost dreams awaken, I don't think, it's new dreams arise. So I never thought any of this for myself. I keep saying that over and over, but it's so unbelievable to be even standing here today with something to say to help somebody else. And, have the worth today to know that I have something to offer this world, and I'm giving back, and, I have something to give. I didn't have anything to give before. I was miserable, and I was horrible to everybody around me. That's not cool. It's cool to be kind. It's cool to be, stable and learn how to live amongst the world. Where am I going with this? So, I guess I'll say, I love the mocktails as well. I love, learning how to live, and, my big announcement that I want to say is a big thing I've wanted for so long since I was 17. I told myself, my first trip to the psych ward with my first bipolar episode, I told myself, if I ever come out on the other side of this, and I saw the way they were helping others in the hospital, I told myself, if I ever come out on the other side of this drugged out haze, this mental illness, I want to be able to show somebody else how to get there. And as of 2 weeks ago, I last minute got accepted into graduate school to become a therapist. Thank you so much. It's just unbelievable. Oh, it's unbelievable. I can't even get the word out. It's just unbelievable. So I just know that's thanks to the 12-step program. That's thanks to people in this room. That's thanks to, most of all, my higher power, my family, my friends. It's not me, it's we. I know it's my higher power, because I couldn't even string along 30 minutes clean before. I thought, not drinking for 2 hours was cleansing my system. I thought not smoking weed for an hour was a tolerance break. And I thought not snorting lines for a weekend was going to cleanse my system as well. So I say all that to say, I couldn't string along an hour. Now I have almost 5 years, and that's not me. That's the program, that's God, and that's all of you. And I think that's really all I need to say. It's not me. I mean, we can say it's willpower, we can say it's that. It's not willpower at a certain point. It's just easier to live as your true self. It's easier to feel alive without substances in you. And, if you're an addict and you're new here and you're coming in and you're like, oh, I can never live without drugs. And like John said, that little high, the big recovery, that big recovery does come with time, and just stay the course, stay in the process, and we want you here. And that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, our last speaker, is he here? Oh, okay. I was looking for the pop-in jersey. So our last speaker is an amazing man that works at the McShin Foundation. So we get a lot of interns that come in, and then somehow they end up sticking and staying, and we don't run them off, and now they're employees. So we have a lot of employees at McShin, and Raymond has a great sense of humor as well. And with that, I give you Raymond Ruby.
Hey everyone, I'm Raymond Ruby. I'm a person in sustained recovery from both substance use disorder and mental health. And, it's not easy. It's not easy to get up here, because originally, I talk in front of crowds all the time, but Honesty pitched this to me as, hey, we're going to do this cool in recovery. And I was like, I'm not cool. I am patently uncool. And then I heard it was called Care Talks, and what I heard was Carrot Top, which is, the Australian ginger comedian with the giant hair. And I thought, what did I just sign up for? So, luckily, though, I'm here, and you guys are there, and there's distance between us. It's good. No, there are no Carrot Tops in here. So, all right. So, patently uncool. When it comes to my life, I love to have a good time. I love humor. Humor is my coping mechanism. It's also my biggest defense strategy, like my defense tactic. It's my go-to. So that makes my life super interesting, You know, when I want to crack a joke and I have to sort of think about like, oh, is this a defense or is this me just trying to have a good time? You know, doesn't matter. I'm just going to have fun. And that's the topic today. It's fun in recovery. Sorry, my hands are all over the place. All right. So, you know, patently uncool, right? Y'all patently cool. I get to see many of you on a daily basis, and that's pretty awesome. I love to have a good time. It is my reason for being right now. And like a healthy good time, right? Like I can crack a joke, but I'm not going to crack a joke at anybody's expense because that is patently uncool. And I try to stay away from that, like, you know, playing Cards Against Humanity. It's all good, fun and good until the dead baby jokes start coming out. And then I just have to like kind of shy away from it a little bit. So what does a healthy sense of humor get us? Like what's the actual, like what's the intrinsic value of it? And I had to do a little bit of research. And, you know, National Institute of Health and SAMHSA, actually there are a bunch of studies. They're based on this Yamagata study that originally came out of Japan. And the way that this started was, hey, you know, Japan, terribly impoverished after World War II, but one of the longest lifespans of, you know, in the world. So where does that come from? And actually, this study sort of showed that it came from having a good sense of humor, having a great sense of community, being able to form human connections with one another to sort of get you through the day. Now, I saw that firsthand after 9/11 in New York, where, you know, it was like kind of like gallows humor, but the people would get together and we would congregate, and we would kind of like, you know, make jokes, and that was how we broke the mood. I see it every day here with sort of like the humor that happens in the intensive program, you know? Then there's a lot of it, right? Some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of it's a little uncanny, but, you know, it's altogether fun. So what it said was the healthy sense of humor helps increase lifespans. Basically, that's the ooey gooey chewy center of this study. And, you know, the Mayo Clinic has just recently done a study in 2022. Mayo Clinic published this article regarding stress and people who are seeking cancer treatment and, you know, the benefits of having sort of laughter in life. And what it showed was that it activates and relieves stress response, sort of lowers the cortisol level in the body, so it sort of increases oxygen flow. I don't know about you guys, but when I have a really amazing belly laugh, like something that like shakes to the core, it usually ends with me going, ah, you know, because I just like totally like cycled everything through my body, and that's really good for me. So it soothes tension. Anybody who's been in a really tense moment, I feel like I'm kind of in a tense moment right now, and I make a joke, and it just sort of makes me feel a little bit more relaxed, right? Stimulates the lungs, helps to relieve pain. When I was going through the post-traumatic stress activity of, you know, leaving my active addiction behind, I found humor to be one of those things that really helped me to sort of reset. Right? I'm going to talk a little bit more about humor, so bear with me. I can see some of your eyes out there. I know I am the only thing that's standing between you and a smoking break, and some of you are just like, it's all right. It's all right. Just bear with me, all right? All right, improves mood, all right? Improves the immune system response, and increases personal levels of satisfaction. I mean, my husband and I, we stay at home sometimes, and like we have this like ongoing gag. I don't know when it started, but it's got to be like 24 years ago. We'll watch a horror movie, right? He loves horror movies. I can't stand horror movies, but it's usually like, ah! And then like, you know, stabby, stabby, blood, blood. And I'll just look at him, and I'll be like, yeah, that's how they would have wanted to go. And we just tear it up. Like, we'll laugh for like 5 minutes over something so silly because it is sort of, it's become part of our routine. Michael was one of my recovery coaches while he was here. And my fondest memory of him was we used to go out to eat lunch maybe once a week. And I went out to lunch with Michael. We were talking about Jesse Wysocki, who's the COO here. Easy to do, right? So we were talking about, you know, like what it's like to raise a family. And I mentioned to Michael, I said, well, you know, Jesse's got 8 kids. And Michael looked at me and he said, man, he couldn't pull out of a parking spot. And I lost it. I lost it. And you know, I've been thinking about him, and like that's what I remember. You know, like that's the fond memory. And like, I'll tell you, like there have been times where I'm in the office and Jesse's kind of pissing me off, and I'll just sit there and I'll be like, man, he couldn't pull out of a parking spot, and I'll lose it. It's good for me, right? It's good for building that sense of you. He's gonna get me on this, I bet. So, talking a little bit about, I want to talk a little bit about sort of where my active addiction started, because really kind of blossomed a little bit after the COVID lockdown. I kind of waited until I was a little late in life before I started using recreationally. And, after I was indoors and not able to do anything, after the novelty of watching Tiger King 5 times had worn off, and then I couldn't dress up my cats and do Tiger King the musical at home, I sort of started lapsing into this sort of chronic boredom phase of my life. And that chronic boredom was terrible for me because I'm an extrovert, because I love people, I love being around lots of people, talking to people, hearing what they have to say. I live for that, and I wasn't able to do any of that. And to combat that boredom, right, having that loss of human connection, I looked for a chemical connection instead. It didn't work out too well for me. But, having lost that, having shed the chemical connection now, I strive for human connections again. And as much as I love to laugh, there's nothing more satisfying to me than getting with a group of people and all laughing in common cause, right? Not laughing at somebody, but really just having that great belly laugh and just being able to connect over something that could be so derpy, but, so fundamental to that moment that we all just connect and bond. So I was talking to somebody quite wise before this, maybe 2 hours ago, and I couldn't figure out what I was going to say, and he hit me with a big chunk of wisdom, so I'm going to share it with you all, and I'll close with this. Yes, recovery is life and death. It is life and death for all of us, right? But the whole purpose of living is to have a good time, And while we're living, let's all connect and have a good time together. Thank you all very much.
All right, listen up. I tell you what, I can't be proud enough of the way our McShin family is and handles ourselves under good times and bad times. As you know, there's a family in here in crisis. It doesn't end well for all of us. If you don't recover, you will have a ripple effect and impact on people who love you and care about you very much. And, don't do that to your families. But just in case y'all want to say, you're welcome to come up and say a few words. This is Michael's mother. She's down here from Maine. And she's down here collecting Michael's belongings and taking care of him. Come on up.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for letting me take more time from you. I know how bad Michael liked to go have a cigarette and how mad he'd get when I'd make him wait longer for one. So I won't make you wait too long. I want to say thank you to everyone that spoke tonight. Thank you to the people that run this place. A lot of people said things tonight that it reminded me of Mike. And I don't want to be sad, I don't want to be crying. What is this called? Keeping Cool in Recovery, Care Talks, Keeping Cool in Recovery. And I was like, well, I fortunately don't suffer from a substance use disorder or any sort of addiction. I lost my father to addiction. My mother suffers from alcoholism. My first cousin, like a sister, died from a heroin or fentanyl overdose. My aunt died from a heroin or fentanyl overdose. And my son, obviously, 22 years old. And I am trying to keep cool in my recovery because a year ago, probably a year and a half ago, because it was winter time, found my son face down in the snow. And in northern Maine, it gets very, very cold. He was living, I enabled for a long time. I gave him a place to live, and I had cameras on my building, and I found him face down. I just decided to go on the camera on my phone app, whatever, and I saw him, and he was knotted out in the snow, and so I called the police department. We have like 4,000 people in the town, so I actually didn't call the police department. I like Snapchatted him or Facebook message or something, you know. I asked this guy to just go check on him, and he went and checked on him and had to get him up. So had he not found him, he could have froze to death. And at that point, I was like, I am killing myself, or he is killing me. This disease is killing me. And so I started. We don't have a lot of meetings up there. We don't have a lot of resources for people suffering from substance use disorder. And I found a online Nar-Anon meeting, and I met a group. They're down in Maryland, I believe. So I guess I'm trying to keep with that. I don't go faithfully or attend faithfully, but I learned that God's the one in control, and Danielle cannot control Michael. As hard as I tried, everything that if I could have given, I would have done anything to keep him here, to keep him clean, sober. He didn't really want it, but after I started that, he went to his first inpatient. He did second and third with McShin, and I made him do it himself. I said, here's a guy, call him, message him, and get yourself there, because I'm not going to pick you up. You're going to go through the withdrawals. And yeah, I mean, I walked into a room. Probably one of the hardest things before this was walking into a room and seeing him. He was 6'1", and he weighed probably as much as me. So skin and bones, puke, diarrhea, all that fun stuff on the floor. And I had to leave him like that until he had plans set up to come to McShin. And we tried. I tried to keep, but I'd catch myself once in a while and try to go back and don't enable Mike. But Michael did love life, okay? And he hurt a lot, but he had a good time. And if, you got to hang out with him, you would see he wanted to make people laugh. He was hard-headed, unfortunately. He got that from me. He went all over the place. We went on a family vacation to Aruba for my sister's wedding, and I was eavesdropping on his group's meeting, talking about, how thankful he was to be able to be sober and be present for that. And sober, I mean, his drug of choice, I guess, was heroin or fentanyl. But he did drink and I appreciate that time with him. He came home last week. He was home for 4 days. So I had four good days with him. And when I brought him to the airport to send him back, he had to come home for court because I had pressed charges on him for trespassing at one of my properties. So I didn't want him to come home, but he had to do that. And I dropped him off at the airport and I hugged him as tight as I could, because one of the things that this has taught me is that you never know when it's your last moment with them. And I don't know, I'm just so thankful that I had that. And he got to see his little brother and his sister and his grandmother. I don't know what else. Like Michael always told me, you don't know anything. You don't use drugs. Like, you have no idea. But I'm one of the affected people, and I know that you don't choose to go full on into, crazy addiction. But like I said, Mike had a good week. Mike looked good. Saturday night was the last night I talked to him. And this is what I have to say goodbye to. So just, I don't know, if you're thinking about picking something up, don't do it, please. Call your moms, whoever you know loves you. Michael did so many things to me that I feel like nobody could understand that I could forgive him for. But I forgive him for everything, and I love him more than life itself. And I'm thankful for the 23 years that I had with him. So thank you all for letting me speak.
So, look, if you don't think somebody cares about you, they do. You know, if this helps you not choose wrong, thank you so much for sharing that. I personally attend hundreds of memorials and funerals, and I like going to the old people's funerals, where the old folks, the kids get to bury the old people, going to memorials and services where parents are burying their children. That's just not the way it's supposed to be. So, we're glad we had a good care talk. We learned a lot of things on what to do. I know you people enjoyed it. You take away, but there is a hit on the end there. You know, don't do it. Fentanyl kills, absolutely kills. So, if you don't think it's going to happen to you, Michael didn't think it was going to happen to him. I guarantee it, and it did. Don't let that be your story. We got anything else, Honesty? Thank you so much for coming out tonight, and we will see you soon. Have a good night.
This is gonna be the best.